November 3rd, we booked a cruise to Cuba. 5 days later, the federal government put new restrictions on. We contacted Royal Caribbean and told them that wasn't what we had booked, and that would they give us a credit towards another cruise. They refused to give us the credit. They did not allow us to get off the ship unescorted, and we'd have to buy one of their excursions. They would do absolutely nothing for us except charge us if we wanted to cancel 75%. Again, they would not give us a credit towards another cruise. My brother and I made the decision to cancel our cruise and contest it with our credit card company as being unfair. On November 3rd, my brother and I and our wives booked a cruise with Royal Caribbean to Cuba. On November 8th, the Trump administration put new restrictions on travel to Cuba that would not allow us to leave the ship unescorted and walk around freely. And Royal Caribbean wrote us and said we were forced to buy one of their excursions, which the average excursion was between $100 and $200 a person. We then immediately called Royal Caribbean and said to them, look, due to this change, we're not allowed to leave unescorted. If you left the ship, you had to stay with the group, and you could not leave your tour guide, as well as we were restricted from doing business with over 180 businesses because of the restrictions, because they have government connections. Royal Caribbean then told us that 5 days later, that we were subject to a 75% cancellation fee. And we explained to them, we're not looking to cancel, we would like to switch to a different cruise. But we don't care if it's after January, but that, it wasn't what we originally wanted. We wanted to be able to walk around, connect with people, talk to people. They would not allow us to do it. So they charged us a cancellation fee of 75% on both of our cruises. And we then contested, I have a contested with American Express, and my brother contested his with Discover. They issued the credits for the 75% cancellation, and it's now presently in the hands of American Express and Discover.
We originally booked the trip through a company called Vacations to Go, who I highly recommend. I've taken probably 8 cruises through Vacations to Go over the years, and very, very professional, very good to work with. I also reached out and I wrote a letter to Alan Fox, who is the president, the CEO of Vacations to Go. He, in turn, gave it to his top cruise specialists, and they are the ones who started the dialogue with Royal Caribbean. And basically, after several days of going, and they fought hard. After several days of going back and forth to Royal Caribbean, basically the answer I got, and it was out of the hands of Vacations to Go, Royal Caribbean basically said that there were so many people upset about the change that were wanting to do the same thing we did, either change the cruise or cancel and get their money back, that they told Vacations to Go that they were not going to be flexible at all. They were going to stay consistent, and therefore they're not making any adjustments, or they're not working with us in particular.
And just to be clear, we didn't ask for a refund. We didn't want a refund. We wanted that money applied to a different cruise.
And it's interesting, and that was what really was the tipping point, because at that point, we're not looking to take our money back from Royal Caribbean. We're not asking them for a refund. We're asking them to give us some sort of consideration for the change and the change of policy through the United States government, and put us on a cruise someplace else in the Caribbean. And it didn't have to be that date. It didn't have to be. It could be a month from now.
And it could have been a more expensive cruise, and we would
and
have
we would
paid
have paid the difference for the cruise.
And I just want to also mention that we reached out to Norwegian Caribbean Lines, who also has a Cuba cruise, and they're telling us that we are free to leave the ship, and we can do people to people, and that they're not restricting us to stay on the ship.
What happened was we spoke with the with Jake, who's the cruise counselor who we're dealing with the vacations ago. I had seen the ad on Facebook for Norwegian, which was the identical trip that it goes and stays overnight for 2 days in Havana, Cuba. And I said, Jake, do me a favor, contact Norwegian and find out if there's any restrictions or what's going on with Norwegian cruise lines as far as leaving the ship freely. And he got back to us the next day or that night, and immediately, and he sent us an email which states that there are no restrictions. You don't have to buy any excursions. You are free to come and go from the ship for the entire time while you're docked at Havana. So, which inflamed us worse, because now I don't understand why Royal Caribbean has these restrictions and why they put them in place. You got to understand, we're going to be in, I think it's a total of 31 hours in Havana. And yes, they're saying that, you can get off the ship. You have to buy an excursion. I think one of the excursions was, like my brother said, it was $80 to $100 per person.
And that was just a walking tour, and you had to stay with the group and the tour guide. Plus, I have bad legs, and I can't walk for 4 hours.
And that was a 4 hours. Now, what do you do for the other 27 hours? And obviously, so I basically felt like I was going to be a prisoner on their ship.
Not only that, most of their excursions were $179 to $225. When you've got 4 people, that increased the cost of that cruise by over $800. And it wasn't what we bargained for. It wasn't what we signed up for. If I'm in the process of booking a European cruise now for July, but I know what I'm getting, and it's frustrating at this point. And I think from a customer service standpoint and from a business standpoint, I own businesses, and I just would never treat my clientele that way.
It's interesting because I actually
we just got an email from Royal Caribbean.
I wrote an email. Let me go back to the date, the original email that I sent. I had, through a friend of mine who had taken a Royal Caribbean cruise, who was very unhappy. He ended up contacting the president's office, and he got a return call or email from a woman named Ms. Pagon, and that's spelled Pagon. And at the time, evidently, she worked for in the president's office, and she was the top customer service rep.
Yeah, and I'm ombudsman.
I sent her on November 16th an email. Never heard anything. As we got closer, I sent her another email on December 2nd. I'm sorry, not on December 2nd. Oh, on November 18th. Because I sent her originally on the 16th. I had hoped I'd heard back from her fairly quick. And I sent her a second email. I haven't heard from you. We're getting close to the cruise date. I would hope you would try and resolve this quicker. At that point, I had not canceled my trip through Vacations to Go. I hadn't got I hadn't canceled or got.
Neither of us have.
We hadn't lost my money yet. I never heard from her. Last night, after getting ready for this whole this thing with you guys on Skype, I said, you know what? Let me send another email to this lady and explain to her, Miss Pagan, that I'm really upset now, and I wanted her to realize that we're fixing to do this interview with you guys to really explain our displeasure, not only with this entire process and that we've lost $450, that I never even received an answer back from this lady, which to me is ridiculous.
And not to mention, today is the day we're supposed to be leaving.
Right.
December 4th was our travel date. We're supposed to be on a ship on our way to Key West in Cuba.
So I just received, as I walked over here to my brother's house, I opened up my emails and she answered me today.
She's sorry she didn't reply. And
well, I want to read, which again, and I want it on the record. I want all your followers to hear it, because it is. First of all, it's a ridiculous response.
Didn't address anything.
It didn't address anything. It's not sufficient. And basically says, "Dear Mr. Rome, I apologize for the delay in replying to your concerns. I have been temporarily repositioned in the company and have not had close access to my normal channels to assist guests. With that being said, I had a chance to review your original concern and apologize for any disappointment with the new government regulations. I see that you have canceled your upcoming reservation, and I am sorry to learn that. If you have any further questions, please contact our customer service department." Obviously, I will never use Royal Caribbean ever again. I will never even look to take a cruise with this company again. And I would try and discourage anybody else from using Royal Caribbean again also. But I'm not a rich guy. I can't afford to lose $450, but I'll be damned if I'm going to give them another red cent of my money. I would sooner take the $450 loss instead of giving them another $1 for a drink, buying anything, pictures or whatever else is on the ship, or excursions. And that was my decision.
And from my end of it, it's not the $450. I can well afford the $450 to lose it. It became a matter of principle and business. And I've been a businessman my entire life. And it's principle. The $450, I could care less. We can spend that going out to dinner in a nice restaurant for a night. It's more of the principle of the thing. Just not the way to treat people.